Derek and I had been listening to one of his favourite bands, the Eagles. "This is where it all started," he said. "Yeah, I know. Already gone. Upstairs in our mate's room. First good stereo you ever heard. You were hooked." "Damn right," he said. Derek has lots of Eagles albums. Their self-titled debut, Desperado, One of These Nights, Hotel California, The Long Run. But his favourite is the first one he ever heard, On the Border. If you listen closely to the Eagles, and Derek does, in particular to the early stuff, you will hear each member has a particular influence which, when blended together, makes the sound we've all come to know as the Eagles. Randy Meisner brought the early country rock of Poco. Don Henley's lyrics are more like poetry, Try on the Last Resort or Desperado. Bernie Leadon's mandolin and banjo were almost country, like on Midnight Flyer. And Glenn Frey brought a pop sensibility and accessible hook to the whole thing. Individually, the components were all good, but collectively they went from good to great. Finally, with the addition of Joe Walsh, a harder, more rocky sound took them to the stratosphere on tracks like Life in the Fast Lane and Hotel California. The sound was as much about the vocal harmony as it was about the blended styles, but whatever it was and is one of Derek's favourites. The band split in 1980 after the Long Run album, citing irreconcilable differences. "We'll reform when hell freezes over," said Henley. Henley and Frey in particular had some success as solo artists, but nothing like what they had as the Eagles. Derek has solo albums by Henley, Walsh and Frey, and whilst good, in his opinion they're not as good as they could have been if each of them had recorded them with input from the others. With their reunion for the Hell Freezes Over tour in 1994, they'd acknowledged that as individuals they could have some success, but as the Eagles they would have more. Egos had to be held in check, personal differences set aside due to the demands of the public, and the clear advantage of working as a whole. This was not entirely successful, with one of the early members and a long-time original Eagle, guitarist Don Felder, being fired by the others after the original reunion tour. But nearly 20 years after that original reunion, after Hell originally froze, they continue to perform to sell out audiences across the world. The lesson to be learnt from the Eagles is that the whole is often greater than the sum of the parts. The best businesses are those where the skills, knowledge and expertise of the participants complement each other. Of course, this must be allowed to happen, and goodwill rather than competition between the participants is necessary. Not everyone is good at everything, but in the successful fusion of skills, everyone can make a contribution, so that the success of the business is greater than if any one individual were to be involved. In addition, in most successful businesses, a synergy occurs where the exchange of ideas between the owners of diverse skill sets leads to a better outcome than if the business process is restricted to internal silos of activity. Derek looked at me with a glint in his eye. "Yeah, I know, mate. Already gone one more time," I said. "But no singing this time, it gives me earache." "They're touring next year, you know. Are we going?" I asked. "Of course," he said. "Got the tickets last week."